Welcome, everybody. It's a great saying I got from another consultant, Frederick Lehrman. Your accuracy is greatly improved by knowing what you're shooting at. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about a topic called creating a strategic target. And the strategic target is very specifically a 1 to 2 page document that describes the vision or the business that you intend to create. It's a 1 to 2 page document that clearly describes the business that you intend to create. So this is not a mission statement. It's not a vision statement. Those are all great tools, but they're not as developed as a strategic target. As you'll see in the exercise that we're going to go through today, the strategic target is really clarifying exactly what it is that you intend to create. And I'm going to give you some interesting statistics and a study that was done at the Harvard Business School to show you that if you do this exercise, you have a 300% better chance of achieving your goal than if you don't. So it's sort of a no-brainer. And yet, so many people don't know where they're going. They just come to work every day, doing it. What Michael Gerber calls in the book, The E-Myth, the tyranny of routine. They don't know where they're going. Their employees don't know where they're going. Their clients don't know where they're going. Nobody knows where they're going. They just come to work every day. And so there's no strategic effort. There's just doing it every day. And so that's what we're doing today. We're going to really define what it is that your business is. And I'm going to ask for someone to hot seat. So get ready. If there's a contractor on the call, or there's whoever is on the call that has a small business, when I ask for a hot seat, I think the best way to illustrate a strategic target is to do one with someone. So we will do that today, and everybody will get the experience of what it is to create a strategic target. So let's begin by talking a little bit about leadership. Leadership has 3 key elements: vision, action, and spirit. And if you think of any great leader, anyone who has inspired you in the past, you'll always see these 3 key elements. They had a vision, and they communicated that vision. And they took action on that vision, and they continually communicated the progress that they made on that vision. And then there was always something about them, their purpose, their cause. Maybe it was charisma. Maybe it was excitement. It was context. The value and importance they held, which gave this journey its spirit. So you can see that these 3 key elements are all wrapped around knowing where the heck you're going. So today's presentation is focusing mostly on vision, but vision alone is empty. If you have a vision and you're not tracking the progress that you're making on it, if you're not taking action on it, if you don't have that spirit and purpose, it's empty. So I'd be remiss if I didn't include all 3 elements and discuss how they all work together to assist business owners in achieving their goals. This is a great, many of you have probably heard of TED TV, or I think it's called TED TV, and there's a link here on the bottom. If you guys want to write this down as I've got this slide up in the screen, this is a fantastic 10, 15-minute video by a guy named Dan Pink. He's a lawyer and a consultant. I begin with it, and I begin with spirit because it's the most difficult to describe. So I said a moment ago that there's always something about a leader and their purpose that creates value and importance. And it's key to generating energy within the organization that motivates people. So I saw this presentation from consultant and attorney Dan Pink on leadership and motivation, and he claims that there is currently a mismatch between what science knows and what business does. Most businesses these days use reward and lack of reward, and sometimes punishment, to motivate their people. Dan concludes that this is a key misunderstanding in business leadership today. There is scientific research that proves that rewards and lack of rewards do not motivate. That, in fact, in most cases, it does just the opposite. It creates dissatisfaction, mistrust, greed. It takes away from all teamwork and community within an organization. And what he concludes, what generates real motivation is autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So autonomy is the urge to be the director of our own lives. So this is, true, this is why you started your business in many cases, is to be the director of your own life. But this is true with your people. At Google, for example, on Fridays, every Friday, I think it's either every Friday or at least one Friday of the month, they have a program whereby every employee can do whatever they want. They can work on whatever they want. And that's why Google Mail came up. That's why Google, all of these cool add-ons come up through Google, is their employees creating them. They do whatever they want on that day. And they end up working on it on their spare time. They get so excited about it. So much energy goes into it. Fantastic tool. Mastery, the desire to get better and better and better at something that matters. And purpose is the yearning to do what we do in service to something larger than ourselves. So what Dan concludes is these are the three key elements for motivation, and I just wrap that into spirit because I think that is at the source of why most leaders start their own business and what they're really trying to do in moving their business forward with employees. Action, that's the second key element of any leader. Action is about walking your talk, taking action on the purpose, taking action on the vision, laying out the necessary steps that need to be taken to get to where you want to go, and then delegating the responsibilities, or in some cases accomplishing these steps on your own, and then following up to make sure each step was done within the time frame given to it, and communicating the progress made to the team. You can't do this if you don't know where you're going. If you don't have a target, a vision. In Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth, and I suspect that a lot of you out there have read it. If you haven't, I fully recommend it. And Michael, by the way, calls it the strategic objective. I call it the strategic target because I like that idea of aiming at something and shooting at something and tracking your destination, tracking the journey, tracking the progress that you're making, and sometimes adjusting it when necessary. You'll see when we talk about a strategic target that it is dynamic yet stable. So the ability to visualize and articulate the future state of your organization is a vital component of successful leadership. The ability to visualize, see it, know where you're going. You know, one of the things that we talk about in river guiding, if any of you have ever been on a river running whitewater, in river guide lore, they say you hit what you're looking at. You hit what you're looking at. So if you're looking at the boulders, that's not a good place to be looking at. And it's often what happens when a young guide ends up wrapped around a boulder. He was looking at the boulder because he didn't want to hit it. So what you look at when you're going down a river is you look at the spaces between the boulders. Same thing with a vision. You hit what you're looking at. So a vision needs to be dynamic, and yet it's also stable. And by that I mean as changes happen in the economy, as changes happen in your industry, as changes happen in the world in general, they have an impact on where you had previously intended to go. So as a result, you make changes in the vision. But these are not dramatic, drastic changes. They're changes that are still part of your core purpose, core values, and core direction. But the vision is dynamic and stable, and I hope this is a concept that I'm able to really clarify. Vision. Well, Michael Gerber reports that 80% of businesses fail in their first 5 years. 80% of those who make it through their first 5 years will fail in the next 5 years. So the first 10 years of a business determine everything. Michael Gerber, Tony Robbins, Chet Holmes, they all report that businesses have a 96% failure rate. there are a lot of studies here, and I'm even going to show you a study in the next webinar that shows a slightly smaller failure rate, but I want to make a point here, and that is that the reason that Michael Gerber talks about a failure rate of 96%, it's not that the business necessarily went out of business or closed the doors. I'm going to show you a Wells Fargo study in the next presentation that I do that shows that it's more like an 86% failure rate. But Michael talks about a 96% failure rate because people don't reach their destination. 96% of businesses that start never get to where they wanted to get to. Now, some of you may be saying, well, wow, this is great. I've had a business for 11 years. But before you go patting yourself on the back, ask yourself the question, is this what I wanted when I first started thinking about my business? So what we're going to do today is focus on creating a vision. It may be revisiting the vision that you originally had when you first thought of your business. Chances are you've forgotten it. If you've had a business for 7 years, 12 years, 15 years, chances are you don't know where you're going anymore. You've forgotten the dream that you had that sparked the energy to get you started. Or for some of you, it may be the first time that you've really even sat down and created a vision for the business. I speak to thousands of business owners every year. Most of them haven't a clue where they're going. Most of them, when I say, what's your business going to look like when it's fully developed, they say, well, we're going to be doing $10 million in sales, or we're going to get a heck of a lot bigger. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. Basically, $10 million of sales, and I'm going to make this point in a moment, is the tactician speaking. It's the technical thinker. I've seen businesses with $10 million of sales, and they don't have enough profit left over to make payroll. So revenue is the conversation of the employee, of the technician. Profit is going to be the conversation of the entrepreneur. So we're going to get to that in a moment. But these are all going to be questions that we ask. Once we have a vision established, we're going to start looking at some tools used to track the progress made toward that vision. So this is about taking action on the vision, because if you're not taking action on the vision and you're not tracking the progress that you're making on that vision, then rarely will you ever get there. Okay, so let's first question, and I want everybody to write this question down. Why did you start your business? Why did you start your business? Write that question down, and let's just take a moment here to answer it. I'm giving you some answers that may have been your reason. Was it so that you could take control of your time? You know, you wanted to be able to, one of the things I say that's always a good one is, wouldn't it be great to wake up after you've finished sleeping? So was it to take control of your time? Was it so you could make more money? You're maybe planning for your future. You want to retire with a lot of money. Something like, it's a remarkable statistic today, folks, how few people, when they get to 65 years old, which is technically retirement age, do not have enough money to retire. I mean, this is important. I did a call with a woman a couple of weeks ago, and when she actually looked at it, she's got a franchise business, a mailboxes type. It wasn't mailboxes, et cetera, or whatever it's called now, UPS Mail, or it was another mailbox franchise. She worked 72 hours a week. When I actually asked her how much she paid herself, over the last 4 years, on average, she's been paying herself $3.50 an hour. That's pitiful. You know, she could go to work as a waitress and make more money than that. Not that there's anything wrong with waitressing, but she's a business owner. She's working 72 hours a week. So was it so that you could make more money? Were you tired of people telling you what to do? Did you want to be your own boss, to be totally in control? Was it because you had a purpose that you wanted to see through? Was it just because you wanted total freedom? So write the question down. Try to answer it right now. You know, what's the first thing that comes up for you? It's a critical question, because until you remember the answer to this question, and you probably had an answer to this question, you've just probably forgotten it, because until you remember the answer to this question, you will never know whether or not you will reach your goal. You will always be condemned to what Gerber calls the tyranny of routine. Okay, So I'm going to move on. Regardless the answer to the previous question, your business needs to create a profit. So a moment ago I was saying profit is the conversation of the entrepreneur. It's not about how much you generate in sales. I've done exercises with people when they're creating their vision and they've said, I want to do $50 million in sales. And when I've actually sat back and done this exercise, which we're going to do in a moment, and shown people how to step towards their vision, they found that they don't need to do $50 million in sales to create the profit they need to live a fabulous life. They can do a tenth of that, and they don't have to get busy. So profit is the very foundation of your business model, because without profit, your business just isn't going to do very well. Without profit, your business will never be able to give you what you want and will never be able to give others what you want to be able to give them. Now, some business owners are not really sure of what their total revenue needs to be. They're not really sure of what their total profit needs to be. They're not really sure of what their business needs to look like. So let's talk a little bit about what profit is. I'll ask a rhetorical question. A lot of times I ask people, what's profit? And they say, it's what's left over after I've done everything. And I say, no. Profit is the cornerstone of building your business vision. So let's talk, for example, if you were buying shares of Apple Computer, and you bought 1,000 shares of Apple Computer, 6 months ago at $100 a share. So you invested $100,000 in Apple Computer, and then you sold those shares 4 years from now for $300 a share. So now you've $300,000. Your net, $300,000 minus $100,000 is $200,000 in profit, net profit, right? This means that I like to use this example because it really gives an example of business ownership, doesn't it? Did you work in Apple Computer to create that $200,000? No. You owned a piece of the business, and the very fact that the business grew and was successful, it paid you for owning that business. So the idea here is to create an income-producing asset, an asset that produces a profit that pays you whether or not you're working there. So imagine, what would it be like if you could wake up, take off on a vacation. Like this morning, you get up and someone called you and said, hey, Ray, guess what? We've got an extra seat. We're going to climb Kilimanjaro on Thursday. Today's Wednesday. Can you come tomorrow? And Ray goes, oh, my gosh, opportunity of a lifetime, I'm going. And literally, Ray gets up, packs his bag, and leaves for 10 weeks and comes back after an adventure of a lifetime, and his business has made money. His bank account has grown while he's away. Everything is running smoothly and profitably when he comes back. Imagine how that would feel. Imagine what would it feel like it didn't depend on you to drive new sales, to make sure everybody showed up at work. Imagine if everybody had that spirit and that energy and loved coming to your business. So this is what business ownership needs to be. It's basically really understanding what the profit is. So let's start this exercise. Can I have a volunteer?
Jerry, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you tell me a little bit about your business, Jerry?
I have a home addition and remodeling business.
Mm-hmm. Is it mostly residential remodel then?
It is all residential, yes.
Okay. And what's the name of your business?
Excellence in Remodeling.
Excellence in Remodeling. Okay. Jerry, what I want you to do is I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper.
All right.
At the top of the paper, I want you to write the future vision of Excellence in Remodeling. How old are you, Jerry?
I'm 43.
43. How long have you owned the business?
18 years.
18 years. Okay. And how did you get started?
I came from within the industry as an employee for another company.
Mm-hmm. That's the classic way most business owners get started. They were working for someone else, and they jumped into owning their own business. I've got in the E-Myth, it talks about one of the reasons why I mention the E-Myth a lot is that for 15 years we were certified E-Myth contractors. We delivered a product called E-Myth Mastery, and that's what we did, is we systemized businesses, and we filled in the gaps for where a business owner didn't really understand business knowledge. And one of the things that we find so often is that business owners started because they were working for someone else, and they were doing it all. So they're doing the estimating. They're going out and supervising the projects. They're handling the customer complaints. They're ordering tools and materials. They're collecting the money. And they say, this is crazy. Why should I be doing this for Bob? Why don't I just do it on my own? And so they think that because they know the tactical work of the business, that therefore they know how to run a business. And what often happens is when you get into a business, you realize, wow, there's so much I don't know about running a business. I don't understand target market development. I don't understand management. I don't understand collections. I don't understand credit policies. I don't understand raises and bonus policies. I don't understand so much about a business. What I do understand is the technical work of the business, and I'm a supreme commander at the technical work of the business. And so what happens is you do what you do best. You do the technical work of the business, and the business grows on your passion and your energy and your excellence and experience, and you're really good at what you do, and it grows to a threshold beyond which you cannot pass because it depends on you and key individuals in your company. So what we need to do is we need to be able to give people processes, and we're going to get to that in the next step here, but we're going to give people processes so we can replicate what we do through others. But we still need to know where we're going. It is really, again, the very first step. So 43 years old, 18 years in the business. Jerry, are you married?
Oh, yeah, I have 4 children.
4 kids, great. Are the kids working in the business yet?
No, they're all at home in school.
Okay. The reason I ask that is that there are category number 1 is maximizing the value of the company so you can sell it. Maximizing the value of the company so you can sell it. Now, basically, a business can sell for what it's worth, what someone will pay for it. Not what you think it's worth, but what someone's going to pay for it. If you've got a business that is fully systemized, that has a very clear vision, that has an organizational chart and a strategy for getting where you are today to where you're getting to, and as pouring off profit, is that going to be more valuable or less valuable than a business that is probably doing the same amount of revenue but is really chaotic and depends on the people, and there is no documented process, and there's really no strategy? I mean, it's obvious, right? The answer is, or the first picture is going to be much, much more valuable. In fact, there's a study that shows the first business is probably twice as valuable as the second. So this is a very valuable process that we're going through. Category 1, maximizing the value of the business so it can be sold for what it's worth. So it's going to be sold for its maximum value. This category number 2, I call it calling in for the numbers from the British Virgin Islands. Now, replace British Virgin Islands with whatever your absolute dreamscape is going to be. You don't have to work anymore. Imagine if you owned this business and you just came to work when you had an exciting project to work on, or not at all. And the business paid you for whatever, go back to that Apple computer slide I had a moment ago. The business is paying you, and you can do whatever you want. That's category number 2, calling in for the numbers from the British Virgin Islands. Category number 3 is doing what you love to do in the business without having to do all of those things that you don't love to do in the business. And, Jerry, you're relatively young. you've still got at least 10, 15 years that you could stay in the business. Imagine what it would be like if, say, 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, you could just do what you love to do, whether it's talking with clients, whether it's working in the business. You would have a job in the business. You would have a job description for that position. You'd work in the business, but you'd pick the position that you love to do. So my question to you, Jerry, is what is that category that resonates best with you? 1, maximizing and selling. 2, calling in for the numbers from the BVIs, or 3, working in the business. What is the one that this is your exit strategy? What's the one that resonates for you?
3 resonates with me.
Okay, perfect. So category number 3, which is doing what you love to do in the business. So you might work there in the business till you're 65, 75, doing what you love to do in the business. And maybe your kids come in and they're working in the business and they're generating money for their families. So great. Category number 3. Okay. How many owners are in there right now, Jerry? Money do you need to live the life that you deserve? And I'll say need/want. So that everything, you've got money coming in. Let's say I have a magic button on my desk right now and I can press it. You don't have to work anymore if you don't want to. And I'm just going to pay you a salary every year. How much money do you need? Is it $100,000? Is it $500,000? Is it $3 million? How much do you need?
Well, considering I would live on so much and probably give a considerable amount away, that's unlimited. But I would say $150,000 is my target.
$150,000. Okay, I'm gonna jump to another program. So, future vision of, was it Excellent? What was the name of it, Jerry?
Excellence.
5 projects. Let's talk about your org chart. We're starting to build this org chart. So we're going to keep going, by the way, with this vision, because your vision's going to say, how many employees do you have? So, Jerry, if you had that business, $1.625 million, 25 projects, you got to get 25 projects every year. Talk to me a little bit about the organizational structure. How many estimators would you have?
Just one estimator.
One estimator how many estimates do you have to do to get a project?
3.
3 estimates. So that's an estimator can easily do 3 times 25, which would be 75 estimates a year.
Correct.
Perfect. One estimator. How many crews do you need to do 25 projects? Because that's basically 2 projects going a month, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Do you need and what's the length of a typical project?
We need 3 crews.
3 crews, okay. And each crew has what? You've got a superintendent? So tell me about your crews.
There's a project manager and 2 employees.
Project manager and 2 employees. What do the 2 employees do? Is one a laborer and one a framer, something like that?
They're hands-on. So they're all... the one is the journeyman, that's project manager. He's hand-on as well, and he manages the project, our interaction, everything from the job packet through completion. But he has 2 employees most of the time.
And are the 2 employees laborers?
No, they're skilled technicians.
Are they on the same level?
No.
So define them. I think that's important because especially with contractors, what they tend to do is they call them a project as 3 people. And it's not really 3 people, it's 3 positions. We've got a journeyman or a project manager, we've got a laborer, and we've got a journeyman or something like that. Well, what would be the 3, the 2, project manager, and what would be the other 2?
A journeyman and then a journeyman or a apprentice in training.
Apprentice in training, perfect. Because each one of these, by the way, are going to have a job description, and they will have a maximum and minimum pay scale. We're even going to go that deep so that you can make sure that your vision works. Because if you get to this place with $1.6 million with 3 crews, well, you probably the 2 biggest costs for you are going to be materials and labor. So we can begin to estimate what you probably know in terms of project costs. What's the material cost of doing a remodel, a design build. You also, if you figure the maximum and minimum value for your specific positions, you can see if you can actually generate 12% net margin. If you can't, you're going to have to adjust something. You're either going to have to reduce the net margin. By the way, if you reduce the net margin to, say, 8%, then you're going to have to do a little more in sales, $2.4 million. The one number that I never let go of when I'm working with a client are these two numbers here. You told me you wanted 150. That's what we're shooting for. This is not a number that I play with, but I will play with this number, and I can play with this number, and I can play with this number, and these are all calculated by virtue of putting these numbers in. So if you've got, you might even find, for example, that you can get 15%. So if you do 15%, you only have to do $1.3 million. It's not about getting bigger. It's not about size. It's all about profitability, and that's this number here. What you're going to do is build this org chart out. Now, let me talk very briefly about a tool that we've got that is for helping you do this. First of all, it's called TouchStone, and through the Small Business School, you can get links to see this tool and to actually see a demonstration of this tool. We have a whole strategic exercise in the strategic development exercise right in here. We've got information on how to do it. We've got strategic target questions that will lead you through the whole exercise that I'm giving you today. And you'll ask all these questions. And what we do is we take your business and we divide it up into 4 key functions: getting the business, or sales and marketing; doing the business, client fulfillment; running the business, this is all the back office operation; and guiding the business. And you're going to see more on this in the next presentation when I talk about business systemization. But there's a great system built into the tool called Strategic Target Development, where you can actually get a consultative perspective on how to do this. You'll even get a sample of what we're going to end up with. If you look right here, this is a client sample. This is where we took all of that information and we put it into a specific 1 to 2 page document. So, Jerry, as I was working with you, I was saying excellence in remodeling is in a certain period will be have growth rates of this, and we'll have this much in revenue and this number of clients, and all of that is going to be right in here in your document. Okay. So let's go back to the org chart, because what you'll also do in TouchStone is you will create your org chart. Okay, we need crews, and that would probably go under operations, and we would have a crew. No, we called it a project manager. But the project manager reports to the manager of operations. So he's going to come right in here, and we can delete this customer support person. Maybe we don't need that person. We've got a project manager, and under the project manager, we've got the journeyman, and he reports to the project manager. And we've also got the journeyman apprentice. So what you're going to do is you're going to start building the picture of your business as it's going. And in fact, what you're probably going to do here is you're going to say you got 3 of these. So you're going to go here and you're going to say 3, because you've got 3 groups. So you're going to start building this in terms of an org chart. Now, what's the value of an org chart? The value of an org chart, first of all, it gives you functional accountability. You can begin to see your company in terms of its functions. These are all of the positions and the processes. I should say one thing. A lot of you on the call might be saying, well, this isn't a picture of my business because my business only has 3 people in it. Or this isn't a picture of my business because my business has 30 people in it and they're all salespeople or they're subcontractors. What I would say to you is no. This is your business. It doesn't matter if you have 30 people or 5 people or 2 people. your business is going to look something like this or bigger. So if you were a company with 3 people, chances are, and you're the owner, you're going to be in this box, you're in this box, you're in this box, and you're in this box. These are not people. These are positions. They may be people in the future. Remember, this is the future vision of your business. So you want to create a picture of the future of your business. When Steve Jobs was creating Apple Computer, and he was in a garage in Silicon Valley with 2 other guys building the old Apple IIe. He's starting to sell computers out there, and he's paying attention to the process so that he can build a set of processes that he can hand off to some person called salesperson. Salesperson. He doesn't call himself Steve Jobs here. It's salesperson, and I'm going to hand this off. I'm going to create my processes so I can hand this off to someone else. The difference between a small business and a big business is a big business is a small business that thought like a big business. They used these tools that I'm giving you, the strategic vision, the organizational chart, the systems, job descriptions, processes. They used all of these things because they knew they were going to be bigger than themselves one day. So an organizational chart will give you functional accountability. These are the positions and the processes that will be focused on revenue generation. These are the positions and the processes that will be focused on client fulfillment, essentially delivering on the promises that were made over in this quadrant. These are the positions in the process that are happening behind the scenes. They're not even directly related to your clients. Things like finance, IT, administrative processes. And then there's one other quadrant right up here. These are the positions and the processes that are leadership, guiding the business from where you are today to where you want to get to. Your management processes, for example. So the org chart gives you the functional accountability for your business. It also becomes a growth strategy. You can begin to see what positions I need next. You might look at yourself and say, gosh, I got to get out of this position, so I'm going to go to work on this position with the intention of creating a job description and all of the systems for this position so I can get out of it and I can get up here. Once you've got your org chart created, you're going to put a minimum and maximum salary for each of these positions. And I recommend a minimum and a maximum salary for each position because it will help you in your budgeting process. If you add up all of the maximum salaries, you'll actually start coming up with some expenses in budgeting. You'll be able to say, well, I got to get to if I've got to generate 1.625 in sales. Jerry, you probably know, right, what percentage of your projects are material? When you're doing an estimate, you're yeah. So you'll know what percentage of this will be your what I call your variable costs. And so I go back to the org chart and I get a maximum amount. So, we need 3 crews, 1 estimator. How many salespeople? Because you want to start thinking in terms of your future vision in terms of those 4 key functions. How many sales guys do you need, or how do you generate sales, Jerry?
Well, for a number of years I had a salesperson, a staff member that was a salesperson. Currently I do all the sales.
And is that what you love to do? Would you keep doing that in the business?
No.
Okay. So if you were needing to get 25 new projects a year, how many salesperson? 1, 2?
Yeah, it's right at the maximum amount of 1 for sure, or possibly 2.
Okay. Maybe you have a salesperson and a sales assistant. So again, you've got to make sure what are your commissions, what are your maximum and minimum salaries for this, and you will tally all these up to make sure that this is going to work, that you're going to actually be able to generate a 12% margin. Okay, let's keep going then with into your strategic target. A question to answer is, what will it be like to work at your company? So if I was to ask your employee, again, this is your future vision, Jerry, If I was to ask one of your employees, say 3 or 4 years from now, what's it like to work at Excellence in Remodeling? What do you want them to say? Yeah, you don't have to answer this question now because we're going to run out of time, but you want to write that down. You want to write down what they will say. They would say something like, it's amazing to work here. We've got freedom. Things are well organized. We've got great benefits. Whatever it is, you want to write it down. Jerry's a great leader. Everything is clear. We understand what's expected of us. Our company is completely systemized. This is what you would write down. People don't ever want to leave here because it's really a great place to come. Most people say, thank God it's Friday because the weekend's here. At Excellence in Remodeling, we say, thank God it's Sunday. We get to go to Jerry's place tomorrow. So I'm stretching a little, right? But that's what you want to write down. Customer service. What will your clients say about your company? Man, it's amazing. Jerry's always on the ball. He's always on budget. He's always on target. He's always got the job done when he said it would get done. His laborers, his journeymen, his apprentices, they are so friendly. Every day they clean up. They make this place look better than when they started. They even do my dishes when I leave them in the sink. The competition. What will your competitors say about your company? Well, gosh, Jerry can't keep doing the dishes. He's going to go out of business if he keeps doing the dishes. That's what they said, by the way, about Federal Express. Federal Express said, we'll get it there when we said we'll get it there or you don't pay. And all of their competitors said, well, they're going to go out of business. They can't do that because we always make promises that nobody can ever keep just to suck people into our company. And Federal Express boomed because they kept their promise. What will your life be like? What's your day-to-day? What's it going to be like for you when you wake up? All of these, I want you to write sentences, paragraphs, answering every one of these questions. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put it all together into a 1 to 2 page document. You're going to use this for new employee introduction. You're going to use it in the recruiting and hiring process and put it in the operations manual. Remember, there's going to be multiple versions. All of your rough information, your sentences, your paragraphs, what you put together in your document, you're going to use that. You want to keep that rough material, and there's a way for you to do that in the TouchStone application. Now, what you want to do, you want to start taking action on those key indicators. Once you've got that document, you're going to actually highlight each descriptive phrase. You're going to organize them in groups. You're going to determine, is it tangible or intangible? For example, what's your life going to be like is very intangible. You can't really, I'm going to show you how to measure that in a moment, but it's very difficult to measure it. It's not like how many employees will I have, or what will my revenues be, or what will my profit margin be. Those are very tangible, measurable indicators. For your tangible indicators, you want to define the best condition. So 12% net margin, $1.65 million in sales, 18 employees, tangible best case conditions. For your intangible indicators, you want to describe the best case condition, and then you want to describe the worst case condition. And what you'll end up doing is once a year, you will track and report on the progress made on each indicator. So hopefully you can see this on the slide because it's a little small, but so these are tangible indicators. Here's some examples: sales, profit margin, number of employees. So the target result, that's this column here. Jerry's example would be 1.625 million, 12%, and however many employees. The previous period, in most cases, these indicators are tracked annually, because not enough change is going to happen, but they're tracked and communicated annually. So in the previous period, let me grab a pen here, you're going to pull the numbers that you tracked last year and put them in here. Then you're going to track the current period and put those in here, and you're going to track the progress. So if this were Jerry's company, the target result is $8 million. Last time we were doing 1.5. This year we've done 3. We've increased by $1.5 million. We were at 18% profit margin. We got to 20%. We went to plus 2. We were at 18 employees as the target. Remember, we were at 7 last period. Now we're at 11. Our increase is plus 4. So these are tangible indicators. Now maybe you've got these intangible indicators down here, like customer service. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to go out to the 4 key functions. Basically, in the strategic target tracking process, there is a sample tracking tool. So it's going to look something like this. Let's say that you were trying to track environment for the employees. What you're going to do is you're going to hand out this questionnaire. It's sort of like looking at skating in the Olympics, or diving in the Olympics. It's a judgment call. But what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, plus 5, it's a caring and positive. And by the way, you make all these up. We've got tons of samples for you, but you make all these up. Plus 5 is a caring and positive environment where employees and clients are excited. They look forward to coming to work and being our client respectively. Minus 5, worst case scenario, everyone's out for themselves. No one cares about anyone else. It's a that's not my job attitude. Clients don't feel like attention is paid to them. And somewhere in the middle, like right in the middle here, well, some of the employees seem to care about others, but there's a lot of confusion and disharmony, and clients can feel that. So what you do is you pass this out to your people. They give a grade. They circle it. They answer the question, why did I give this grade, and what actions do you recommend to get a better grade? And then you track that information. So what you'll do is, and so you'll go into this tracking summary sheet, and you'll actually pull up this, and you'll put in your own indicators here, your target results, your previous period, just like the one I showed you in the presentation here, and then you'll track your progress. So that's how you track it. Remember when I first started this presentation, I started about vision, action, and spirit. So let me just come back to one final slide here. There was a study, I mentioned this study at the very beginning. There was a study at the Harvard Business School that was a focus on goals. And they took that year's graduating class and asked them, have you written down your goals? 3% of the graduates had actually written their goals down. 13% had sort of thought about goals. They hadn't written them down, but they were thinking about them. 84% of that year's graduating class had no specific goals at all. These are people who are graduating with an MBA at a Harvard Business School. 84% of that year's graduating class hadn't even thought about goals. All they were trying to do was get through their final exams, and then bingo, they were off to Martha's Vineyard or something like that. 10 years later, the members were resurveyed, and the findings were astonishing. The 3% who had actually documented their goals were generating 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. What it showed is that if you do your homework, if you create a vision to generate the spirit in your organization, you have a 300% better chance of getting to where you want to get to. You will totally take what Michael Gerber says as a 96% failure rate, and you will turn it on a dime. You will be, 96% of you will be successful. So I just want to wrap up to say, if you're interested in getting some support on doing this, hearing more about the services that we offer, the tools that we offer, give us a call. You can email us at sales@businessdesigncorp.com. You can go to our website, businessdesigncorp.com. There is a ton of free material there. You can look at strategic processes. There's just a lot of great material. There are archived newsletters. There's just a ton of material there. Or feel free to give us a call. Our toll-free number here in the United States is 888-522-2325. And if you are calling from Canada, or we have clients all over the world, in Johannesburg, Australia, New Zealand, England, everywhere in the United Kingdom. So if you are calling in from outside of the United States, our direct line is 707-522-6250. I just want to thank you all today for hearing this presentation.